You hear people talk about like good leads versus bad leads. First of all, what would you say is a good lead versus a bad lead? How do you quantify that? If you see that a company is having more quote unquote bad leads coming in, how do you transition that so they get more good leads coming in?
I'm super excited about this because he's doing a lot of really cool things in new and innovative ways. Without further ado, we have Aaron Shishilla, who is the CEO and founder of Wolfpack Advising. Aaron is a driven entrepreneur and a digital marketing leader and began his professional journey while working as a home inspector for his family's inspection and pest control business. Welcome to the Bug Bux Podcast, a podcast designed to turn you into a bug money millionaire. This episode is brought to you by Bug Bux Plus, the #1 training and education platform designed to help you build and scale your pest control companies. I am your host, Eric Bassett. Away from me in the Vancouver Bug Bux Plus studio, my co-host, Jake Claus. What's up, dude?
What's up, Eric and my Bug Buxers?
Okay, man, this is a total ridiculous side note, but you've looked up your own last name on Urban Dictionary.
Oh,
right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
who hasn't, right?
if you guys are listening, this is just the background of my brain doing its own thing over here. But me and Jake were talking about this before we hit record. If you haven't looked up your own last name in Urban Dictionary, here's a way to waste about 5 minutes of your time that you're never going to get back. So enjoy.
Do it.
So of the definitions here for Claus, this one says the closest a person can get to God. A Claus is actually someone with endowed with manhood, very attractive, etc. He is the best in everything, and nothing and no one can compare to him. Quote: I wish I was a Claus.
Okay, so just for reference, I know people are saying, "Oh, Jake probably went on and wrote that." I did not. First of all, I did not write that.
This
However,
this was submitted on November 7th, 2010.
Oh, yeah. So
15 years old.
well, I might have and just forgotten about it. However, I can say for a fact that I did not submit these definitions, but I will not argue their legitimacy. We'll just go with that.
This other one says on Claus, which says it's similar to like the slang term on God. This term is used in emphasis
On God or on guard?
on God, right? Like when someone says like, "Oh, are you like lying?" And you're like, "No, man, on God." Like it's like I'm being 100% truthful.
Is that okay? I've never heard that before. Okay.
It's the new kid slang, right? It says, yeah, emphasis the truth and to express the fact that the individual will not be on the naughty list for lying. The term is most commonly used during the holiday seasons. Okay, sure. But my ultimate favorite one here is this one, and this one is PG for all you people listening. So you've been warned.
This is a very PG audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This one just says Claus. Definition: verb. To hit another man in the genitals.
Not untrue. That is not untrue.
And it says, quote, dude, you totally got Claused.
Yep.
September 11, 2006. Love it.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, September 11th?
Yeah.
Wow, what a way to honor.
What a way to commemorate that
Yeah.
date. Unbelievable. So, yeah, dude.
man.
Jake has all sorts of very interesting definitions for Claus on Urban Dictionary. We're not going to waste any time looking at my own name because, in fact, we actually have a fantastic guest that we need to bring on the show. So
I'm excited. I'm very excited about our guest today, but I'm also very excited to hear about his villain origin story. I don't think if this is a villain origin story or a hero origin story.
We're gonna hear about it because this might be a villain origin story.
We're
And I'm
gonna
actually
find
a
out.
fan.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the villain origin story. Before
By
we
the end of
bring
the
on,
episode, you can decide if
Yes.
he's a villain or a hero.
yeah, comment, and tell us in the comments. Before we bring him on, just want to remind everybody listening, the best way to receive new episodes is by subscribing to our show on your preferred podcast platform like Apple, YouTube, Audible, or Spotify. If you love the show, please leave us a rating and a review. Make sure to check out our Facebook group, Bug Bux Plus. That is BUGBUX Plus. We have the owners only group that has over 4,800 other pest control owners waiting to connect with you and share their thoughts. We also have the Bug Bux Pest Pros group for non-owner team members designed to help them develop in their roles. Joining the groups is the best way to connect with us, share your feedback on our show, and have your questions highlighted and discussed here on the podcast. So make sure you find us on Facebook and join one of these groups. All right, dude. So
Let's do it, man. I'm pumped.
I'm super excited about this because this guy's been involved a little bit in our Facebook group, but just in the industry, and he's doing a lot of really cool things in new and innovative ways that I am super excited about. So without further ado, we have Aaron Shishilla, who is the CEO and founder of Wolfpack Advising. Aaron is a driven entrepreneur and a digital marketing leader and began his professional journey while working as a home inspector for his family's inspection and pest control business during his time at the University of Central Florida. This hands-on experience gave him a deep understanding of the industry and the unique challenges that small businesses face. After graduation, Aaron transitioned to a key role as marketing and sales manager at the home inspection company, where he developed and implemented innovative marketing strategies that delivered measurable results. His success in this role inspired him to found Wolfpack Advising, now known as a trusted partner for business seeking expert guidance in digital marketing. Under Aaron's leadership, Wolfpack Advising has grown into a nationally recognized agency specializing in empowering home inspection and pest control companies to dominate their markets. Known for creating tailored strategies, Aaron and his team focus on delivering solutions that save time, increase ROI, and elevate their clients to alpha status in their industries. Beyond his work at Wolfpack, Aaron is a nationwide speaker, sharing his expertise on scaling businesses and the latest marketing trends at conferences across the U.S. He also spearheads initiatives like the Wolfpack Summit, which is an annual event designed to educate and inspire business owners and marketers. When he's not leading his team or speaking at events, Aaron enjoys marathon training, working out, and spending his time with his wife and pets. Driven by a commitment to personal growth and excellence, he strives to grow his business, himself, and his community. Wow. Aaron, what a rap sheet, dude. What a rap sheet.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Man, what's funny, Aaron, how old are you?
I'm 27.
Cool. The amount of things that you've pulled off in 27 years, I mean, to get to where you are right now, hats off to you, dude. That's great.
Thank you.
You're killing it.
Okay. I mean, since we're going with this hero arc or villain arc, I'm just going to say this. If you're watching this episode on YouTube and you're looking at Aaron and he said, I'm 27, and you took a step back and said, what? He's 27? Aaron, you look way younger than 27. Is that a common thing that people kind of, jump back and say, there's no way?
That is a common thing. Sometimes I use it to my advantage. Sometimes it works against me, I guess. But I am losing my hair now. It's thinning. So I'm starting to panic a little bit, to be honest.
No.
Dude, I think
I don't see that.
What must be left off, like I'm looking through this rap sheet and obviously there's got to be a part in here that he must have deleted that says, while Aaron was searching for his new role when he was 21 years old, he found the fountain of youth and drank of its waters. Yeah, dude. You look good. You look young. You look driven.
If I were to say that Aaron modeled any superhero, I would have to say Peter Parker.
Ooh, okay.
Aaron's got a super Peter Parker vibes.
Yeah, little Spider-Man, like genius during the day and swinging from web slinging ropes at night.
Yeah,
I can dig that. I can dig that. I think it's the round face maybe, and like the baby face probably.
Yeah,
maybe.
You just look like. You just have that like innocent Peter Parker look, because Peter Parker is super innocent, right? He's a kid, but he's freaking Spider-Man. That's what's so cool about Peter Parker.
What I think we'll learn from this origin story is maybe it's not so innocent. Maybe it's a devil in disguise.
Oh, dude, how controversial.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked a little bit about this before the show. Aaron, you've got a pretty neat origin story. And I think from this, we're going to be able to easily determine, is this guy a supervillain or a superhero?
Yeah. I mean, do you want me to just start it or like?
Yeah, give us the.
From the beginning.
Yeah.
From the top.
All right. Well, from the top. So I went to the University of Central Florida. I worked at Chick-fil-A for a bit. I was moving back home to study at home, save a little bit of money while like studying and everything. And I got a job at Publix. So Publix is like a southern supermarket. Very good job. I didn't want to move or like work into the deli, but that's where they put me. So they put me in the deli with like the hairnet, the knives, making the subs. And I apologize to all those people that were asking for a pub sub and I had no idea what I was making. Because to be honest, you probably asked for something and I gave you like turkey instead of ham or whatever it was.
How
for like
dare
the
you.
first 90 days I was there. Regardless, and I promise I'm much better at this job than I was there. But regardless, I was there for like a really good amount of time. Made tons of friends and friends with management as well. But what happened was just one afternoon, I catch this guy. I'm like 18, 19 at the time, so I'm pretty young. And I looked a lot younger then. This other guy, he was like probably 30, 31. Let's say his name was Mike. I was sweeping in the back hall.
I hate this guy already.
Yeah. He wore a bandana and he didn't have any hair. So maybe that's why he was mad at me or something, which we'll get into. But I was sweeping in the back hallway, just cleaning up. And he walks up to my dirt pile and he like steps in it and like rubs his feet in it. Like just to kind of joke around, I guess.
No.
So.
No. Let's see where this is going.
So I was totally like, okay, like fun guy, whatever he wants to mess around. He went into the freezer and I said to myself, like internally, like when he tries to come out of the freezer, I'm going to close the door on him so he gets locked in the freezer. Well, he went into the freezer, he's coming out and he's carrying a box of chicken, like Publix chicken that he was about to like fry on his shoulder. You're not supposed to do that at Publix. That's against the videos, the training videos that you watch. You're not supposed to do that. So he's on his shoulder and he's like leaning out the door with his head. And you could kind of guess where this is going. I shut the door like quickly, thinking he's just pushing it with his hand. No, the door hit him in the head. And he got very angry. And when I say very angry, he was screaming. He was livid. And
Wow.
Did he turn green and his shirt ripped off? And
no, he was about my size and my frame. So he wasn't like a bigger guy or anything like that. I wasn't like crying for mercy. If it was some guy that was much bigger, but he was just screaming at me, pointing at me, like yelling at me. And eventually it died down because I was just like, I'm sorry, man. Like it was an accident. You were messing with me first. Like I was just trying to get you back. It was no big deal. Like people joke around at work all the time, right? It was just an accident. Things happen. He did not take that answer lightly and didn't like it whatsoever. So he eventually like turns around like he's going to leave. So he turns his back on me and I'm like, okay, like it's over. It'll chill out. And no lie when I say this, as soon as he turned around to walk away, he took like one step. He went down to his knees and swung as hard as he could, turned around and punched me in the nuts as hard as he could. And he went like with it. Like he took out all of his anger. After that, he literally just walked away. And I was up against the wall at that point because it knocked me back. And everything was fine, I think, at the time. I don't remember if I probably went to the bathroom to check myself, make sure I wasn't dying. But
no blood in your pee.
No blood. No blood. 10, 20 minutes later, everything was chilled out. And I was just like, okay, like, I guess we're just going to move on with our lives after that. Like, what am I supposed to do? Like, start just punching him back after that? And he, like, walked away. So I went on with my day, and 30 minutes later, he's in the back hallway again, screaming at me, like, again, angry. And he's wanting to fight me in the manager's office because there's no cameras in there. He's like, let's settle this like men, Aaron, come on. And I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous. Like,
right, you just took a cheap shot to my nuts, and now you want to settle this like men? Come on, dude.
And so ultimately I told him, like, dude, I'm not going to fight you. Like, there's no need to do this. And he wanted me to walk into the office so that way we could fight without cameras. And he's like, you want me to go get a manager then? I was like, sure, go get a manager if that's what you feel like is going to be best. He goes to get a manager. Manager comes over, sets us both down, and is like, hey, so I've been in these situations before. If we move forward, I got to report this to HR. And if I report it to HR, they're going to fire you both. Aaron, do you want to see Mike get fired? And I was sitting there and I was like, no, this is ridiculous. She goes, okay, that's understandable. Mike, would you like Aaron to get fired? And Mike's like, yes, I want to see Aaron get fired. He hit me in the head with the door. Fast forward a week, we both were fired. On the way to me getting fired, I remember sitting in the passenger seat. My dad was driving me. I was driving at the time. I don't know why he was driving me at the time, but he said to me, like, well, maybe, this will be a good thing for you because maybe you'll come work for me. And he was having his home inspection company, about to start his pest control company. And I was like, oh, yeah, maybe. Like, not really looking forward to it. But I was pretty bummed out at the time. So I guess that's my origin story, because without all of that happening, I would have never worked for my parents. I would have never gained the hands-on experience as a home inspector and working inside a pest control company and what that looks like. Would have never done marketing or any of this.
Okay, so wait. So you're telling me that your origin, the birth of you getting into the home inspection and the pest control space and eventually becoming the marketing guy that you are now, is all because you got Claused by a coworker.
And here I am.
And here you are.
Here I am.
Superhero arc. That's definitely a superhero origin story.
Oh my gosh, dude. I'm so glad that we brought this up. This has been
yeah.
phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So we're going to get in trouble if I don't start asking some of these like Bug Bux related questions.
No, I think we should just end it right there. That's all.
That's it, folks.
Thanks for tuning in. Oh my gosh. Okay. So obviously you've got Wolfpack Advising, which, and for everybody listening, if you guys haven't caught on to this already, Wolfpack is a Bug Bux partner. Okay. So we've had conversations with Aaron. We've seen the vision that he has for his company, the value that he wants to bring to the pest control space. We love it. We think it's a fantastic idea. We're super excited to have him and his team on board. Aaron, can you share a little bit with the audience, where you feel like Wolfpack fits in with pest control companies and marketing? What do you feel like pest control companies need that Wolfpack hits really well on?
I mean, I would say there's a lot of different things. I mean, our services in our company was built from the ground up, keeping like home service providers, home inspection companies, and pest control companies especially in mind. So when I start from everything with a brand new company, I'm talking about, okay, let's start with your website. Do you have a Google business profile? Are you getting a good review rate and getting good reviews? Stepping into there, like, do you need leads? Do you need business? How can we deliver a profitable return on investment for your advertising strategies? When we start talking more, we start talking about SEO efforts and focusing on that. And then the whole like social media, CRM stuff. So everything about our company is pretty much built with pest control companies in mind for everything they need. And it goes based on the experience that my parents had. So most agencies, which I'm sure a lot of people have had experiences with, just a lot of them don't do a great job, quite frankly. Their communication, a lot of people have really bad issues with communication with agencies. They're really expensive with a lot of marketing agencies. The return on investment or their lingo, they talk about like clicks, impressions, reach, all this other stuff. And for a lot of companies, especially SMBs, it doesn't work for them. They need to see return on investment. They need to know that it's working so that way they can spend more money. So that's ultimately like the fit for our company is we've built those services with all of that in mind.
A lot of the stuff that you're mentioning, especially in my experience, Jake's been in the pest control industry for 20 years. I've been in for 18 years. And digital marketing has only been something for the last half or a little bit more than that, where it's really picked up, right? And what you're highlighting with the issues with communication, the issues with measurable results, and not just, communicating like, hey, I can't get a hold of my guy, but communicating like, when we do talk, I don't know what the heck he's even talking about, right? And I don't know how it even makes a difference in my business. Those things are really frustrating for a lot of pest control owners, me included. I've had marketing partners in the past that fall into all those categories. And I've consulted with other pest control companies with other marketing companies that have the same problem. So you guys having an emphasis on creating solutions to those problems, I think is absolutely killer. And obviously, I know that your parents have a pest control company. They have a home inspection company first. Did your marketing experience start out in the home inspection space and then kind of progress into pest control?
Yeah. My parents hired a marketing agency, and I was graduating in business from the University of Central Florida at the time. So I worked in their home inspection company that hired a marketing agency, had really bad experiences with that. I was really enjoying marketing at the time, so I was just like, oh, let me take this on. So a lot of it was my dad and I working together on it and working through that. And then it slowly just snowballed into a full-time position, manager position with a larger home inspection company, and then starting their pest control side and helping them with their marketing on that side. And then other pest control companies as I continued my network. It was really like word of mouth at the beginning to those people that had very similar experiences where you were charged so much for a website, the communication was awful, and then you were just unhappy with the relationship.
How was the marketing strategy with your dad's home inspection and pest control company different from what you started doing when you came in? Like what were they doing? Yeah, like what was he doing for marketing, and how did you come in and then change that in order to see a growth in the business?
I think the issue is most marketing agencies don't understand the home inspection industry as well as the pest control industry. And so in order to accurately deliver really good results, you need to know what strategies are going to be the most effective for that business at that given time. So you can really drain a company if you just sell them on SEO services and you sell them on this really high SEO plan when that is not the best strategy for them at that given time. So for example, if I was talking to a brand new company, you'd be almost shooting yourself in the foot if you're like, let me spend all my money in SEO. There is way more foundational things that you need to get started on first, and you need to get cash flow in than rather focusing on something that's just going to drain your cash flow, like a high-level SEO plan. So instead, what we focused on are the items that we knew were going to deliver accurate results and measurable return on investment. And then we could focus on strategies like a higher level SEO plan, and knew that it was going to take the time, like 6 to 12 months, to see the gains from it and even track that return on investment. But it was about the strategy of it and knowing that we were going to get measurable results from it. A lot of companies, again, like I mentioned, and I could just reiterate, is like they hire marketing people even in-house. And sometimes they don't even know that person's own return on investment from what they do. They have no idea. So if we start foundational with that, with those things in mind, the rest will come when we have that cash flow.
Dude, so smart. I mean, and I like the, no one size fits all kind of approach, right? Because I think this probably goes for a lot of business owners and probably for marketing professionals too. What you're really trying to do is find some kind of system that you can duplicate, and then you try to do that over and over again and make it super efficient. And when these pest control operators are calling marketing companies, it sounds like the same thing, right? It's, oh, hey, well, look at your website, optimize it for SEO, and then we'll start your PPC and your LSA campaigns and yada, 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 yada. And some of these marketing companies, will obviously bring in account managers, and they kind of end up growing this big company into something that's really just kind of perpetuating some generalized, vague execution on an operation, right? And I'll say that some companies do this very well. Some companies follow, some of the process stuff that you're talking about and hit on those pretty well. In general, I think that it is a pretty big issue. And so it's refreshing hearing that from a marketing perspective where you say, hey, it's not every single company, right? You got to look at the market. You got to look at the company size. You got to look at what you're trying to accomplish, your cash flow, where you are within the season, all these different things that come into play. From somebody who has kind of an evaluatory mindset, hearing you talk about some of that stuff instead of just diving into the service offerings, that scratches some really good itches in my brain. So thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And I think for a lot of people that I meet and talk to, I think they get a sense of relief when I start talking to them, and then they say, well, I've heard I need to do these things, or I should focus on this. And I say, okay, I really wouldn't recommend that for you, because I really just think you're going to be not necessarily wasting your time or your money or your energy, but there's much better low-hanging fruit we can attack first, to where you're going to feel a lot more content to push the needle forward after the fact.
What would be that low-hanging fruit?
I mean, it depends on the company. So give me an example of a company.
Let's say it's a small company, $400,000 company with 2 technicians, and they're in a mid-market. Like, let's say, I don't know, what's a good mid-market? Salt Lake City is a big market, right? That'd be a big market.
Maybe Tennessee.
Yeah, Nashville.
Somewhere in Tennessee.
Let's say they're in Nashville. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, the first thing that I look at is, one, do they have a website? So if they have a website, is it decent enough? I can make critiques all day about somebody's website. That's like part of my job, right? But if it's effective enough, I'm not going to say, well, you need an entirely new website because that earns me extra money, because I can prove that they need a new website, which could be true. So I'm not going to focus on that if, one, they have a decent enough website. The second thing I would focus on is the Google Business Profile. So do they have a Google Business Profile? Are they listed on the other citation places like Yelp, Bing, Amazon Alexa, Yahoo Local, all those Bing places, all those? Are they getting a good review rate after that? So do they have good reviews on those platforms? And I'm checking all my boxes every along the way. So if they don't have a good review rate, boom, I need you to focus on review requests. You could do it this way in-house, or we have a system that's built to maximize your review rate. The more or the higher your review rate is, the better SEO performance and advertising performance you're going to see. So you really need to focus on that review rate, not necessarily the total number of reviews, because the total number of reviews does matter, but the review rate is really what we're looking for. After that, we start jumping into the question, are you focused on, or do you need business right now? Is your cash flow hurting? Are you like, I need to bring in more customers? If the answer is yes, I'm usually going to jump to like LSAs. LSAs are the most profitable return on investment right now that we've seen. Now, I want to highlight and stress this in this podcast for everybody that is running LSAs. Please try to expand your network into other advertising strategies, because I guarantee you at some point it's not going to work. And everybody's going to be panicking because LSAs are no longer working. So make sure you're spreading it out a little bit. After that, you could do the whole network of all different advertising strategies. If they're like, hey, my cash flow is good, now we start focus on the brand building, the marketing, the longer term strategies, social media management, social media advertising, CRM build outs, newsletters, copywriting, SEO work. Those things that are building the asset and the brand up once you have enough cash flow and assets to be able to focus on that, because that's the stuff that takes 3 to 6 months to build out. And sometimes even like if you start focusing on that now or too early, it's going to be way too early for you to like really make that a focus, because your beginning business is all about like increasing your initial network.
Okay, so pretend that I don't know the difference between GMB, SEO, and LSA. Can you break that down just so that we know kind of what we're talking about?
Yeah. To start, your Google Business Profile. That is simply how majority of people find businesses online. So when people search for a pest control company near me, it's 9 times out of 10 the Google Business Profiles that show up. So that is one piece. And the review rate, the amount of reviews that you get for how many jobs, is the reviews that go to that. Now, LSAs are essentially a dumbed down version of Google search ads for local home service businesses or other businesses like real estate agents, for example. And it all utilizes just the information of your Google Business Profile. So it's a dumbed down version of your Google Business Profile, and it puts your Google Business Profile right at the top of search results. So instead of competing organically at the bottom with a bunch of people, you can pay per lead to be at the top. So you just pay Google.
So when somebody Googles pest control Vancouver, Washington, if we've got an LSA spend, then that puts Natura Pest Control at the top, and it'll say, is that where it says ad? Like it says that's ad?
Sponsored, yeah.
Or sponsored ad?
Yeah, you'll see it from a customer-facing standpoint. What they see is Google Guaranteed, right? So that's the customer-facing version of it. On the marketing or the company version of it, we know that is local service ads, right? And so obviously, most people are looking at Google in ad spend in the form of either PPC, which pay-per-click, like your typical AdWord type campaigns, and LSA. And dude, I remember when LSA first came out, it was like the bee's knees, right? I remember talking to our marketing partner at the time, and they were like, something really cool is coming through Google. You guys are going to love it. It's got this like really long, process of verification, but once you're verified, like you're one of however many companies, and it was like super, super cool. And then obviously over time, everybody gets verified, everybody starts doing it, and it just becomes another advertising avenue that everybody's doing. And like you were saying, for people who are currently just utilizing LSA, that's all you're doing, like please diversify, because LSA goes through these weird periods of whether they're effective or not. And we've seen that over the past however many years that it's been out, 3-4 years now. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it hits really well, and sometimes nothing's biting. And if that's all you're doing, then you're in for a rough go.
Man, I am so glad, like just as a business owner, I am so glad that companies like Wolfpack Advising and other masters at marketing, I'm so glad that you exist, because that is so far outside of my wheelhouse that if it were just me doing my own digital marketing, I'd probably be like that guy that stands on the corner in his underwear waving the I'll take the dents out of your car sign. There's a guy in here like on the next block from our office that does that. It wasn't, I think that we had been like 8 years in to Natura when I discovered that it was called pay-per-click. I thought it was pay-per-click, like a paperclip, but like a click. And I let it slide one time. I was like, okay, guys, what's a pay-per-click? And Eric was like, wait a minute, are you saying pay-per-click? I was like, yeah, what's pay-per-click? And he's like, bro, it's pay per click. Like every time someone clicks, you pay. And I was like, oh, yeah, that makes way more sense than whatever.
That sounds like me making subs at Publix. Where I just got it wrong. They were asking for one thing, I was totally doing another.
That's right. I was using turkey instead of ham, right?
Yep. It's the same thing.
Yeah.
We're going to take a quick moment to highlight one of the premier sponsors of the Bug Bux Plus platform. Are you running a pest control business and worried about missing sales opportunities? Let's talk about Same Day AI, the game-changing virtual sales agent designed specifically for the pest control industry. This innovative tool uses advanced artificial intelligence to ensure no potential customer slips through the cracks. What's really impressive about Same Day AI is how it integrates seamlessly with field routes and other top CRMs. It doesn't just quote, it schedules new customers directly onto your routes, optimizing your workload without missing a beat. I've seen it in action, and it is truly a sight to behold. The efficiency is incredible. Bookings go up and stress goes down. For any pest control business looking to enhance their sales strategy and boost customer engagement, Same Day AI is your answer. Transform your approach and elevate your service with the efficiency that only AI can provide. Trust me, you'll see the difference. Visit GoSameDay.com to learn more and start revolutionizing your business today. We're going to take a quick moment to highlight one of the premier sponsors of the Bug Bux Plus platform. Are you a pest control operator that's paying for inbound leads for services that you don't offer or are outside your service area? How would you like to be able to get paid for referring those leads to other companies, all while getting high-quality referrals in return? If you're getting calls for jobs you can't take on, Baton has you covered. With Baton, you can easily refer those callers to other trusted companies and get paid for it. It's super simple. Just create your profile to show what services you offer and where, then start referring leads to more than 500 of Baton's vetted partners, all while getting exclusive, high-converting leads referred back to you in return. Every referral you submit not only gets you paid, but also increases your chances of getting referrals from other companies. And don't worry, every Baton partner pledges not to steal or poach your existing customers in need of other services that you don't provide. With Baton handling the transaction, you can know that customers you refer are in good hands. For Bug Bux Plus subscribers, there are no onboarding or membership fees. Plus, you can get up to $400 in free referral credits just for being a subscriber to the Bug Bux Plus platform. Give referrals, and get paid. Join Baton today. Go to bugbuxplus.com/Baton to get started. Now back to the Bug Bux Podcast. So Aaron, when it comes to the companies, and especially the the pest control companies that you've been working with and most recently. We've been talking about the low-hanging fruit. What are the things that you find? If you could pick what the one most common low-hanging fruit thing that you find is among these pest control companies, where you say, hey, let's do a quick deep dive into your company, and you're like, wow, this is pretty common, could have expected this. What's that one common thing you're always seeing?
I would say the number one thing that we're seeing and selling is LSAs, to be quite frank. There's so many pest control companies and SMBs that are starting out that are wanting to start their own thing all the time. And these people work in other trades, or they came from, I spoke to somebody earlier that came from IT. So they worked in IT. They have nothing to do with marketing, but they knew how to build a fantastic website, and they did it themselves, right? But they didn't know about anything about LSAs or advertising. So I would say for our business and what we sell, that's typically the thing, is because we work with a lot of people that are like starting their business, growing their business. After that, there's a couple niche products that I think are a little bit unique to us, especially with CRM and marketing automation, to like automate a lot of marketing efforts and then track the return on investment. A lot of businesses are doing like email campaigns, texting campaigns, sending postcards, doing all those things, but have no idea what the return on investment is on those. So we integrate with a lot of pest control software and home inspection software with those systems, so we can deliver an exact return on investment through any sequence we build in that.
Love it, dude. The actual measurable results part of your intro made me smile, because I think that's also something that marketing companies struggle with a little bit. Like you were saying, they can tell you impression and clicks and all these other factors that eventually lead to the ultimate goal, which is, hey, did you make my phone ring? Did you give me a genuine opportunity to sell a customer? And so when you talk about having measurable results and being able to actually track the ROI, that might not be something that a lot of pest control companies have experienced yet from their marketing partners. And I think that's something that they should. Like the fact that that is a communication issue or a problem in the pest control marketing space really bothers me. And I wanted to ask, do you use a specific platform or a tool, or what does that conversation sound like when you're having the accountability, measurable results kind of conversation with a client?
It goes into each service is going to be a little bit different, right? The easiest one to talk about is like advertising. So with advertising, the easiest thing that we can do is set up like tracking numbers. So I'm sure a lot of people have heard, or if you're new, you may have not have heard, but there's systems like CallRail, or there's systems like What Converts that integrate with your Google ad platforms and then can track all the calls and leads coming in. A couple of things that we focus on crucially here that tell us exactly what's going on. The first thing that we focus on is if we spend $1,000, I want to see that you're quoting 10 times that in actual quotes.
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
If you spent $1,000 last month in ads, I want to see your team quoting at least $10,000 worth of jobs. If you don't have that, you're not setting yourself up for the close rate. So your close rate needs to be at least 30%. If you have a 30% close rate on those quotes or more, we're in the clear. So using that information, we can send or know if you're not quoting enough, that's either we're giving you bad leads or your team's not just quoting the jobs enough. And then if you're not closing it, if your close rate's below 30%, then I know that we're just not closing the calls. So then we start working through coaching on how we can convert these calls more.
You know what? Sorry, I'm going to jump in. So, you hear people talk about like good leads versus bad leads. Like, first of all, what would you say is a good lead versus a bad lead? How do you quantify that? And secondly, if you see that a company is having more quote unquote bad leads coming in, how do you transition that so they get more good leads coming in?
So to answer your question on what's a good lead versus a bad, we changed the language to be quotable versus not quotable. So a quotable lead is what is like in your service area, right? And 2, you can actually do the job. So it's for a service you offer. If it meets those 2 criteria, it's a quotable lead. If not, it's not quotable, right? After that, in terms of, what was your second question again? Oh, how to decipher between, or what to do once we see like a bunch of unquotable leads.
Yeah.
essentially what we're looking for is trends within the unquotable leads. So some of the common trends I've seen as of late are the wrong job type selected on Google Local Service Ads. So there's a job type setting. Most people overlook the job type section and don't know what works and what doesn't. They kind of click on everything. So it's simple like that. Other things
in other words, our marketing person would click wildlife trapping or something like that. And so we're getting a lot of wildlife leads.
Yeah. Another one would be like, really, this one can be difficult to work with, but I've had it with quite a few companies actually, especially running like, it's happened with LSAs, but sometimes with Google search ads with the pay-per-click. We're running a campaign for, let's say, whatever company, but all of the leads coming in from those ads are actually people searching for jobs.
Dude.
People that are like looking to get a job.
Right.
So that's where our team spends a lot of time digging into the real targeting. And it takes more of like an expert to know Google Ads platform, and to really build a good trend of like, where are they coming from? What hours are they calling? Is it the same or around the same IP addresses? Like, is that the same person? So we're diving into every nuanced thing. So it could be sometimes simple, like just clicking a button. Other times it could be like blocking an IP address because it's the same person.
Mm.
It's so crazy that you bring up the searching for a job type scenario for like unqualified leads. There's another pest control company that I consult for, and they track I have their team track their lead sources for the same reasons that you want your companies to do the same thing. And we've got they're outside our service area. It's not a pest that we service for. Those types of things. And they actually within the last year had to add a unqualified lead source, which is looking for a job, because it got so bad within like Google's advertising platform and people spoofing phone numbers for like job listings and other weird stuff like that. So it's funny that you actually mentioned it, because I'm sure that a lot of pest control companies have probably noticed that, and they're like, what in the world is going on? So that's a really interesting one. Another one that I see that companies run into, which is both good and bad, in my opinion. When you run a lot of campaigns, obviously you're going to be putting in a lot of zip codes, right, for service areas, so that Google knows, hey, I want to have advertising go out to these particular people. That's who I want to match with. But sometimes you'll see companies that have ads coming in, or just people calling in the office that are outside their service area. And sometimes they get worked up about that. They're like, oh, dude, why am I paying for these stupid leads that are outside my service area, yada, yada, yada. Well, from like an organic standpoint, like sometimes your brand will like transcend your service area. And if you have your branding that's actually growing outside your service area naturally by referrals or other things, and that's actually a pretty good indicator.
Expand your service area.
Yeah, right? Jump into it. You're like, man, I get 40 calls a month from this place that's just north of my service area.
Yeah, lean
well,
into
hey, pal.
that.
Maybe
Man,
think about
what
that.
a horrible problem to have.
Yeah, no
All
kidding.
these people wants to expand our service area. Gosh, how dare they?
One of the things that could be really beneficial for pest control operators, because I have this conversation with my marketing partner a lot. One is making sure that the team that you have handling the volume is willing to communicate back up the chain through the office manager back to the pest control marketing partner. What kind of systems and processes do you put in place so that you have good, effective communication that's coming back from the pest control companies to you guys?
100%. So I will tell you, it can sometimes go in two boats. There's a group of companies that like just don't do it, and you can advise them as much as possible. Like, hey, please tell me the quality of the leads. I'm begging, because like the thing is. We can sit there and listen to every call to get a true understanding, right? But you don't want to pay Wolfpack to sit there to listen to every single one of your calls. So it's better for your office team to just get involved while they're doing it, to just write down the notes of what that call is. Or set aside some time for, if you have a VA or somebody in your office, like on a Friday afternoon just for 1 hour, to just fill in the notes for the week. Once that's fulfilled, our team is going into that dashboard every week to see what are the quotable leads and what are the unquotable leads, and what optimizations can I make from that? And then every month, we'll show you the exact return on investment to know, hey, your quotable was really good. You 10x'd or over 10x'd your spend, which is exactly what we want to see. Your close rate is perfect. And if it wasn't one of those, during that monthly report, that's what we're talking about. Hey, your close rate was only 25%. Looking at the analytics of the call, these are my recommendations. If you need to schedule a meeting with me, please let me know. I'm happy to do that with you. And there are times where I get into a call and do a very deep dive with companies and accounts and really dive into like their sales team. I think one of the larger issues around like just Google local service ads or advertising in general in a lot of these companies is they jump into it thinking it's going to be super easy. You're competing against all these other companies that are doing it. It's not easy. You have to work it just like you do any other system. And majority of your calls right now are people know you and trust you and have been referred to you. All of these other ones, they don't know you, they don't trust you. So the person on the phone needs to do a good job building that initial rapport and relationship in order to book the call. And when you talk about it from that perspective, as like these people are answering the phone, they're salespeople, the attitude kind of changes in terms of how we need to train and approach the situation with advertising in general, and that we need to put a little bit more effort into, hey, here's our notes in terms of these calls and what was good, what was bad, and how can I train my team a little bit better to convert it? Because there are times where I'm talking to a company that is quoting $100,000 worth of jobs, but is not closing it. And how hurtful is that for the business owner to have $100,000 worth of jobs for a month and you lost it because of what? So,
Dude, that's the kick in the nuts right there.
Yeah, that's the Claus right there.
That's the company's getting clout.
But essentially, that's our process. It's a weekly, it's a monthly thing, putting it on the report and seeing those KPIs and explaining what that means.
Aaron, so I just have one last question for you. So when you take on a new pest control client, is it just like across the board, it's like starting with a clean slate with the company? Or do you see that there's some things that pest control companies are doing that either make it more difficult for you to start their marketing or make it easier to start their marketing? Like what are the blunders that we're making as pest control companies in our marketing?
I would say one of the biggest blunders that I often run into sometimes is like being open to other possibilities or new things or trying new things. A lot of times I think we have the blinders on and we're focused on just what we want to focus on, or I'm focused on my routes and I'm just focused on, the chemicals or whatever it is. And I'm not thinking about the whole picture and maybe the other opportunities Aaron could talk to me about. Because there's a lot of times where I want to be able to get into conversations to people about certain things that I think would be super impactful for their business, but I don't get the opportunity because, they're busy in the day-to-day. They have other things going on. And I totally get that as a business owner too, being busy in the day-to-day. But when you're talking about expanding the horizons, going the extra step, that's where I think it stems from, is taking the blinders off sometimes and looking at all perspectives.
That's really killer, dude.
Cool.
And I think it's important, like it's tough in the pest control industry. And I'm glad that we've got, marketing agencies like you guys who are willing to, take the deep dive and talk about, hey, I definitely wouldn't suggest this, or I would suggest that, or let's look at the ROI. Like, you actually care about that, because a lot of pest control owners have been burned by the expensive SEO package guys and all these other things where they kind of just brush by the ROI and just say, hey, marketing's marketing. I can't control your phone calls, but it is what it is, right? And now you're kind of taking these marketing companies that are stepping up to the plate and they're saying, no, like, we do have to take responsibility and accountability for the performance that we have. And you're taking it a step further, and you're actually putting a lot of time and effort into how the sales team handles that volume too, right? Where you're saying, hey, like, maybe we're delivering the lead volume, but you're not seeing the revenue on the back end. Let's take a look at what your closing rate is. Let's take a look at what the contract values are. Let's take a look at the health of the inside sales team, because the revenue problem might not be a marketing issue. It might be a sales related problem. And a lot of marketing companies either don't have the time or the desire to really jump into that. And you seem like you have both, and also the experience because you've been doing it with other companies, which is really cool. I know that every now and again I come across, companies or marketing partners, and they'll say, we really prefer to work with a pest control company that has done these things, or they're ready to spend this much money, or, this is their current size, or whatever that thing is before they're really kind of willing to work with them. And I wanted to ask your perspective, from Wolfpack, who's your preferred client? Who are you guys going after? And for the people who might be just below that range, what would you suggest for them, basically saying, hey, if you can do these things, then Wolfpack would love to work with you? What would you say?
Yeah, I would say, honestly, we found a niche for sure. I think we found an underserved market, and I think we've done that very, very well historically, and it's just compounding over time. A lot of our packages and our plans, like they start as low as like maybe $3.99 a month, I want to say. Our more popular stuff on average, maybe they're spending $500-600 a month. So if you can afford that, I would say invite the conversation in if you want it to. If you're not ready for that, in terms of what you should be doing, focus on those steps that I mentioned at the beginning. 1, your website. 2, your Google business profile and your review rate. You don't have to get expensive review request system. You just need to essentially text your clients and ask for a review, beg them, friends, family, whoever it is. Once you have those steps and you've built your initial network or whatever it is, LSAs is your world, at least right now. The things change, things shift. I made a post on my own personal Facebook the other day how I'm getting leads now from ChatGPT, which is kind of nuts. So it may very well continue down that route. LSAs is not going to be around forever. There's going to be a new thing in the future, but that's what I would say is focus on. For those companies that are larger, we invite that conversation in. We work with many different companies that are on much higher budgets as well. But I think we found an underserved market that we have found a really good product and service and how to approach them.
I love it, man. And I love having vendors like you guys as Bug Bux partners, because the more of our membership across the board, big, small, medium, everybody in between, the more of them that you guys can serve, the better it is for us, right? So thank you for having a very competitively priced package. And I'm just looking forward to the value that you guys are bringing to the table. So if our members or anybody listening, if they want to get a hold of you, if they want to book a meeting, if they want to pick your brain, ask you questions, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
I just want to say real quick, I love you guys too. I appreciate that.
Thanks, man.
Just don't Klaus me, okay? I've had that already happen.
No
Oh no. Oh no.
Don't hit us in the head with a door, and we'll be good.
Yeah, we'll make a pact.
Make a pact as Wolfpack.
That's
Hey,
right.
there we
Yeah,
go.
take care
See
of
what
our
you did
den
there.
mates. That's what
That's
we do.
right.
The easiest way is probably just wolfpackadvising.com. There's a little get a proposal button. Make sure you mention Bug Bux in there because I want to know that you guys are a member. I want to take care of you guys.
Tracking the attribution like a marketer.
It's already on the back end, all the technical stuff.
And there's discounts too, right? For Bug Bux, for Bug Buxers.
Yeah, I think, Eric, you probably have those. I don't remember them off the top of my head, to be honest. I think it's like 10% for 6 months, something like that.
Honestly, and here's what's funny is I don't have them right in front of me either, but I know that the discounts that we provide for Bug Bux members are awesome. And if you consider how competitive the pricing already is with Wolfpack Advising, getting a discount on top of that for being a Bug Bux Facebook member, and then possibly giving a better discount for being a Bug Bux educational subscriber, dude, what are you waiting for? Just book a call, see what there is to see. And you never know. You could be, building and scaling your company much faster.
Join the pack, dude. Join the
I
pack.
should
Join the
raise my
pack.
fees after that, Eric.
There we go. Yeah, that's what I got to say. Awesome. Well, Aaron, this has been so good, dude. Thank you so much for all the time and energy you put into this, for building your organization, and for taking the value that you've built and sharing it with the Bug Bux Plus community. For everybody else that's listening in, of course, as always, we appreciate you taking the time. If you have a coworker, a manager, or an owner who could benefit from listening to this episode, the best way to say thank you to us is to share this episode with them. If you haven't joined the Facebook groups yet, go find the groups and join. It's Bug Bux Plus. Lots of information and great connections there. And if you have a topic you want discussed on the show, drop it in the group. As always, this episode is brought to you by Bug Bux Plus, the #1 training and education platform designed to help you build and scale your pest control company. Visit bugbuxplus.com to sign up and start building today.
And don't forget to hit subscribe.
Thanks again for listening in, and until next time, keep building those pest control companies.